Welcome back. All the Smoke Dugout coming to you live from Philly, MLB All-Star 2026. It's been a fun day. And man, we got one of the most, one of the biggest insiders in the game. Welcome to the show, Jeff Passan.
Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Great to be here.
Thank you for taking some time. I saw you got a little bit of your Woj off yesterday before the draft. You threw some things out there before it happened, but talk to me about how you got into this space and what drew you to becoming one of the biggest, writers in this space.
Employment.
It's a must.
No, that's the honest answer. My father worked at the Cleveland Plain Dealer for 41 years. So I grew up in a newspaper household, and I knew what the business was like, and I fell in love with it at a young age. I was working at a local paper when I was 14 years old and went to school for journalism, and I wanted to tell stories. I think reporters are in such a privileged place that we get to talk to people who live the kinds of lives that the rest of the world can't imagine.
Right.
And to me, our job is to tell the stories about what those lives are like. And sometimes it's on the court, it's on the field, sometimes it's the stuff off, the interests and passions of people. And to me, there's just such a wonderful thing about a well-told story.
Yes.
But I also understand that storytelling doesn't have quite the audience that it did once upon a time.
Yeah.
Or at least it's evolving in a way where, people who are writing 4,000 and 5,000 word stories don't have jobs anymore.
Yeah.
And I got kids to feed, Matt.
Yeah, it's the digital form has kind of taken, and to your point, we grew up reading newspapers, or what we saw on ESPN was kind of how we consumed our information, but now social media is how people consume their information.
I know, and I have a real cognitive dissonance about that, because to me, sitting down and writing a long story or reading a long story, it feels like art to me. And, you take time over the years and you learn your craft and you understand what you want to deliver to people. And for 15, 20 years, that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my passion. But I'd be foolish not to look at the landscape today and acknowledge that things have changed and habits have changed just in terms of how things are consumed. And so, I started a new show this year, and early on, we're just clipping off 1-minute clips throughout the show, and they're doing better.
Yeah.
Way better than the whole show is doing.
Bite size.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this? How did we get to a world where people just want 1 minute at a time?
Less is more.
And I could either be the old person who sits there and screams from his porch about that, or I can understand that this is what people want these days. And
so what are some small things, outside of your show, you can tell us about your show, but what have you kind of done to evolve with the times of how people are consuming their information on the baseball side?
I think I've tried to marry the two as best I can, because if I'm just going all in on the clips, I feel like that's not who I am, that I'm losing my identity.
And I think there's still an appreciation for what your grassroots is, for you being able to write a good story.
Yeah, and it's been, the show's been really fun, because never before have I gone on camera with people and interviewed them in the long form, the way that we are right now. And it's a little bit daunting and it's a little bit intimidating, because if I'm just sitting there in a clubhouse, right, or in a locker room talking to a guy, I can fumble over a question, I can say some dumb shit, and I don't have to include that in there. Right. It's all good. Now it's like there's pressure. You got to be really, really prepared. You have to know the person you're talking with. You have to know what they want to talk about and what's going to engage them. And it's been a great challenge, and it's fun.
I think too, once you kind of get the hang of this space, I think you'll realize that it's actually more like sitting next to someone in the clubhouse and just shooting the shit. And if you do fumble or you do fuck up, it's okay, because that's the honesty of the conversation and how it naturally flows.
And it took time for me to get to the place where I don't know if I was comfortable doing that, but one of the beauties of getting older is you begin to understand who you are. And you understand that's not necessarily a fixed thing, right? Like when I was younger, I knew I could write the shit out of a story, and I didn't need a whole lot from the person who I was talking with necessarily to look and to observe and to see things and to talk with other people. But now it's like if I want to get to the core of who someone is, I have to ask the right questions, and I have to understand where they are in their life. And it's a challenge, and it's fun. And in baseball especially, which is such an incredibly multicultural game. Like you can talk to somebody from the South who grew up steeped in baseball. You can talk to someone from California who's had baseball their whole life. You can talk to someone from the Northeast who maybe didn't get a chance to play a whole lot, or the Midwest. And then, oh, by the way, there's the Dominican Republic, there's Venezuela, Panama, Colombia, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and of course Japan. And the way that baseball has spread throughout the world and the embrace that Major League Baseball's had, I think has made the game just so much better for it.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, I think that the MLB is at a nice place right now, a really nice place right now. But there's also a potential lockout looming.
It's not potential.
Is it coming? It's
happening.
No.
But here's the thing, and I think this is important for every audience. I try to say this whether I'm on SportsCenter or on my show, wherever. December 1st is the day that the collective bargaining agreement expires. I do not believe there's going to be a new deal in place by then. That does not doom us for the 2027 season. This is just big business being big business. And when you are a businessman, all you're looking for is leverage. And these sides are trying the best to figure out, how do we get leverage on the other side? How do we push ourselves closer to a deal? So in December, same as last time, you're going to see arguing, you're going to see all these doomsday scenarios that are put out there. But the real time when you should be getting concerned, if there's no movement by mid-February, by early March, then the season's in jeopardy. And that's when I'm going to be concerned personally, because baseball, like you said, it's in a great place, right? A really great place. And I don't think anybody who's involved wants to ruin that.
You obviously are kind of behind the scenes as well as in front of the scenes, but from what you know here, gathered, people you've talked to, do you feel like there will be some kind of, whether it hits before December or not, do you feel like some kind of agreement will take place?
I'm hopeful, and I know that's not the right answer, the one that anyone wants to hear. But here's the truth, Matt. Right now, there's a system that's been in place since the inception of the Major League Baseball Players Association and the first collective bargaining agreement, where it is a free market. And that free market over time has changed and evolved. But not since 1994 have owners tried to implement a salary cap. And last time that happened, the World Series was lost. It was a disaster. You needed a judge to issue an injunction to get baseball back on the field. The only thing that brought people back to the game was Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa in 1998. Like, that was a black swan event and a wonderful thing that happened, but ultimately you can't bank on that.
No.
And so the idea that MLB in the middle, this is the fight that MLB is trying to pick right now. In the middle of a season in which the Tampa Bay Rays, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Cleveland Guardians are first place teams and playoff teams, where a Chicago White Sox team that lost 121 games 2 years ago is a playoff team. And I can go on and on, whether it's the Miami Marlins or other small market teams or other low payroll teams. They're trying to make the argument that there is not competitive balance or not sufficient competitive balance in Major League Baseball, and that the remedy to that is to restrict salaries of players, which is essentially what a salary cap does. Now, I get MLB's argument about small market teams not winning the World Series or advancing deep into the playoffs. Like, those are facts. You can't deny those. But the question that players ask is, okay, why is that? Is it because we don't have a ceiling on what teams can spend? Or is it because we don't have a floor where those smaller market teams that just don't spend anywhere near what they could or what others say they should, that they have no floor to reach? And so that's the issue here is they're talking about completely different things. The MLBPA is not going to accept a salary cap. It's just not.
Period.
And MLB right now, the way it's going is saying, we want a salary cap and we will not accept anything otherwise. And that's the conflict that's going on.
Interesting. I hope they kind of come to a resolution. In the NBA currently, the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown situation where, the trade kind of shocked people. There's rumors swirling that maybe they didn't get along. Is there anything, what's the equivalency of that in MLB where guys are getting traded in their prime and you may hear some stuff behind the scenes where it happened because of this? Is that, I'm sure it takes place similar on the baseball side.
Yeah, listen, you stick 26 testosterone-laden men into
highly paid,
room, highly paid, egomaniacal, cultures mixing. Sometimes, sometimes it's not mixing very well. At the same time, like the New York Mets, Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor, there have been questions about how they get along and about how are they going to get along going forward. And both of them came out publicly and said, we're not going to acknowledge that there was a beef, but if there was, it got squashed and we're good with each other right now. And yet at the same time, the Mets are in the middle of a complete disaster piece of a season. And so to see that, I think it's illustrative of when you have two guys who are that good, can they coexist? That needs to be, to me, the absolute priority when you're building a team. Yeah. And it's always difficult to know before two guys have spent time together, whether, was there a teammate that you ever thought came into your locker room, you're like, I'm gonna like this guy. And afterward, you're like, actually, I would like to punch him in the face.
No, I think it was the other way around. I thought I'd want to punch him in the face, and then he became my teammate.
Okay.
But I think this happens, and again, you've been covering the sport for a long time, and I played on the basketball side. There's always stars that don't necessarily get along.
Yeah, Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer were never the best of friends by any means. And yet they played together in Detroit. They played together with the New York Mets, and they figured out a way to coexist. It wasn't one of those situations where they're gonna, be sitting down, strategizing together or learning from each other. They figured out a way to do their work and be
respect
great.
each other.
Exactly.
Do your job.
And that's all you can ever ask, right? I don't have to be your best friend, but I would like to be a productive teammate with you.
That's it. What's the craziest trade you've personally ever covered? One that shocked you?
It's almost one that didn't happen.
Okay, can we hear about it?
The year that Shohei Ohtani was going to be a free agent, the Los Angeles Angels had about a 24-hour window where Artie Moreno, their owner, was open to trading Shohei Ohtani. And at that point, he was going to be a free agent. I think everybody knew he wasn't going to re-sign with the Angels. They've been terrible his whole time there. Wasted the prime of Shohei Ohtani, wasted the prime of Mike Trout. He had never even played in the playoffs before he went to the Dodgers. And the Tampa Bay Rays...
Whoa. Really?
Tampa Bay Rays were willing to make a trade that would have included Junior Caminero and Carson Williams, both of whom were their top prospects at the time. And, the Angels front office, they were trying to rush to get this done. And it turns out this would have been the worst trade imaginable for the Rays, because you know what happened right after that? Wander Franco. And, the situation there where he wound up getting charged with,
A little bit of trouble.
So Wander Franco, who was their franchise shortstop, who they'd signed to a $189 million contract, suddenly he's out of the picture. There were other injuries that happened, and Junior Caminero is, one of the best players in baseball now. So it was the best trade
that didn't happen.
Interesting.
Something I thought that was interesting, you gave up your Hall of Fame vote in 2017 out of protest. thoughts that Bonds and Clemens should be in. Other writers didn't. Walk us through that decision.
It had been brewing for a long time because I'll tell you, I was like early in my days of baseball writing, I was kind of on the Barry Bonds beat. I started in 2004, and yeah, so started in 2004 and 2005. Saw him hit 756, 762. Like Barry Bonds was absolutely incredible, and still to this day is the best baseball player not named Shohei Ohtani that I've personally seen. And to me, the Hall of Fame's job is to tell the story of baseball. Not just Major League Baseball, it's to tell the story of the Negro Leagues, it's to tell the story of pre-MLB baseball, back to, the 1860s when the whole racket started. It's to tell the story of Japanese baseball, just baseball around the world. It should be a magnet for fans of baseball. And I just feel like not honoring the people who were the best at the game is a really disingenuous way to tell the story. I will tell the story of Barry Bonds as this. He was an incredibly talented, otherworldly baseball player who was a flawed human being and made a choice that disrespected the game. And we can argue all we want about what performance-enhancing drugs are. There's a really blurry line there where what we use to heal up, right, to get through injuries versus what we use to enhance performance. Where is that line?
Who makes the line?
I think the public does, but I think the public's also been convinced, through years of unnecessary moralizing that line is fixed. It's not. It's constantly evolving to me as medicine evolves, and as society evolves. But this is as much like a mental line as anything, because PEDs are cheating. Are you willing to cheat or are you not? And Barry Bonds, even if there was not a drug program in place, every baseball player knew if you take steroids, if you're Jose Canseco, if you're Mark McGwire, you're doing a disservice to the game. And to me, those two stories are not mutually exclusive. The Hall of Fame can tell that story. It can tell the story of Barry Bonds, the great baseball player, but also Barry Bonds, the flawed human. And the point for me that pushed me over the edge was when the Hall of Fame, before a vote one year, sent out, I think it was like a 1,200-word email from Joe Morgan, who, legendary baseball player, incredible, and was on the board at the Hall of Fame. And he was essentially saying to all the voters, this place is sacred. Do not let in people who are going to ugly it up. And I'm sitting there like, there's some real pieces of shit in the Hall of Fame already. Terrible, terrible people. And you're telling me that Barry Bonds, because he chose to pursue, an area of the game that was beyond things, that makes him worse than Ty Cobb. That makes him worse than people who are racist. And by the way, there are already steroid users in the Hall of Fame. Yep. Come on. So right there, it just felt to me like it was a process that I just didn't want to be involved with anymore. And I have a lot of respect for people at the Hall of Fame. Josh Rawitch is a friend. He's the president. I think he's excellent. John Shostakofsky goes to, every big event in baseball and brings stuff back to the Hall of Fame. I take my children to the Hall of Fame. I believe in the mission. I just didn't want to be part of something that I didn't agree with.
Wow, that's huge. Give me your best or worst memory of covering these players. Yasiel Puig.
What a dick. He was, you know what though?
I've heard that. I've been in LA for a long. I've heard the same thing, unfortunately.
He was electric though. The Puig era, it's a weird one because it came right before the Dodgers got really good.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know that the Dodgers ever were going to win with Puig around, just because I think that, I think there's some people in clubhouses who just poison the well. And I've heard that from a couple of Dodgers players too.
Josh Hamilton.
Oh my God, I remember being there at Yankee Stadium the night of the home run derby.
When he went crazy.
And so when I sit down to write, I usually like know what I'm gonna say. I usually can figure it out. I remember that night, I left Yankee Stadium. I don't know why, I always take the train back into the city, like 2 a.m. Just gives me some time to think and clear my head. And I get to the hotel and I sat there in front of a blank screen for an hour.
Really?
Yeah, because I was having trouble putting words to what I saw that night. It was one of the most incredible performances I've ever seen, and he was just so talented. Josh Hamilton's story, in a lot of ways, is tragic. Just did not have the upbringing that gave him what you needed to succeed in professional sports. He's the kind of guy who I think college actually would have been absolutely incredible for, because it would have given him a chance inside of a program and with teammates who were trying to win as opposed to get to the next level or the next rung.
I don't know him personally, but I was a huge fan of just obviously his game, but hearing about his story. Do you know him? Did you get a chance to know him at all?
Yes.
Cool. Good dude?
Good dude, yes. I think so. And he's just been through a lot. And look, people got demons, and those things are roaring all the time. And I can't imagine being in Josh Hamilton's head, having to, every day know what your brain is telling you and convince yourself it's the wrong thing.
See, I and a little offside, but kind of similar. I mean, I played with Lamar Odom, one of the coolest person, most giving, kindest, loving, incredible talent you'll ever meet, but he battled those demons.
And it makes you feel lucky, right? That whatever it was in your background, whether it was parents, whether it was friends, whether it was a mentor, people who can keep you going in the right direction, and you having like the capacity to process all these like you've lived a life that most of us can't imagine, that would derail so many people out there. But you lived it, and you are where you are, as much here because of what's down there, because of that.
Tim Lincecum.
Man. I'll tell you what, I love Tim Lincecum's dad, Chris Lincecum. And I heard about Tim Lincecum well before he became a star in the big leagues, because I've been kind of a pitching nerd for a long time, and I heard from a scout about this kid at the University of Washington who moves like nobody you've ever seen before. And the first time I saw Tim Lincecum, I was like, this dude is like my size.
What did I say? He's about what, 5'8", 5'9"?
I'd say like 5. He was probably like at his peak, like 5'10", like 165, but just freakishly strong. You ever see like those wiry, strong dudes who don't look the part,
but super strong.
But they just have. And Tim Lincecum's dad, from an early age, wanted to create the best pitcher in the world. And when I saw Tim for the first time, I wanted to write about him, reached out to his father, and kept in touch with him throughout the years. And Tim Lincecum at his peak,
incredible.
Absolutely unbelievable. And just, it's one thing I love about baseball. You can be 5'6" in Jose Altuve and win batting championships and an MVP. You can be 5'10" and skinny as a pixie stick in Tim Lincecum and win multiple Cy Youngs. Or you could be Randy Johnson at 6'10", or Aaron Judge at 6'7". Yeah. Like, it's not quite basketball-like in that regard, but there's a lot of basketball to it.
There's no look to it.
No,
it's just the
there's
talent,
really,
the heart.
It's just a question: do you have the skill? Do you have the skill?
Yeah. Your reporting was instrumental in breaking the Ohtani interpreter gambling story. That story, along with any others that you worked on that really come to mind as some of the crazier stories you worked on during your tenure?
I first heard the tip about Ohtani's gambling. And by the way, that's how it was framed to me. First tip was Shohei Ohtani might have a gambling problem. And it's like, the first thing I think is, oh God, like the thing that's too good to be true actually is. And, I reached out to a reporter with our investigative team, Tish Thompson, who I knew, and she's much better at that area than I am. You know, she's got sources in places that I don't. And Tisha's done an incredible job on this. And she was the one who had the conversation with Ipe Mitsuhara where that like forced the Dodgers to address this in Japan, inside the clubhouse. And we were getting ready to run with that story when, you know, they reach out to us and say, actually, this is not what happened.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was not quite in the middle of that, but as all of this is going on, I remember I was sitting there, I was at a gas station filling up my tank and talking to Tisha like, what is going on here? And how has this thing broken as wildly as it has? And I just, you know, I look at all of this and we're in such a conspiracy-loving society that there's a large segment of people out there who still believe that Shohei Ohtani was the one who was gambling. I am never going to entirely discount any story because the world's a weird place, but I just ask those same people to read the 30-something page indictment against Ipe, to listen to the phone calls that were made by him to get money transferred out of that account. There's just a lot of evidence. And if it actually is all a cover-up, it is one of the greatest cover-ups in the history of the world. And I give him so much credit for covering it up like that.
You did something that I think is very admirable because we live in such a day and age where clickbait runs and hot takes are prevalent, and you publicly apologize to Ohtani for, we laugh, but I mean, I appreciate because I'm a former athlete and now transitioning in this media space, I see people, and I remember as a player, I didn't like it, but I appreciate people who have an opinion, and there's obviously facts to your opinion, but then when you see that it's not what you thought it was, most people just let it go. You decided not to do that.
Why would you ever be angry about being wrong? We're wrong at things
all the time,
every single day. And if I'm going to teach my children that acknowledging when you're wrong is the most important thing that you can do because it shows humility and because it shows fallibility and because it shows vulnerability and all these things that are important in being a productive, contributing member to society, then I'm just a hypocrite if I don't do that. And also, he was so good and I was so wrong. There's wrong and there's
very wrong.
God damn, you fucked up this one. And I didn't do it. I didn't write that story, Matt, for like, I don't care about clicks. Like that's the honest to God truth. I'm comfortable enough with the work that I do that I don't need validation through numbers. And I've done this for 25 years almost now. And I'm thrilled with where my career has taken me. So, you know, I can lose scoops that I'm fighting for and not beat myself up too badly. And I can get things wrong, but getting it wrong to that level, I had talked with scouts and people who had watched him all spring. And let's remember, like, Shohei Ohtani, this is how talented he is. He really did struggle at the plate that spring. And he decided to make a swing change on the eve of his first season. He was leg kicking with his front leg during spring training, and his timing was just all askew. And then, you know, you see it now, the little ankle twist here before he goes. That was suggested to him during the last preseason series that they had against the Angels. They did, you know, they just did a couple exhibition games down in LA, and Ohtani changed his swing there, and that changed the course of his career.
Absolutely. He deferred nearly $700 million of his contract. Obviously, he's probably one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yep.
Is there an estimated amount of money you think he's making per year, just all in?
How much money is he making with the Dodgers?
I mean, personally, with all of the advertisements, with all of the sponsorships and stuff like that, I mean, it's upward of $100 million. And the Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers are not the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are the Shohei Ohtani Shell Corporation. Like, I mean, like it's,
Let's be honest.
It's, and hey, good for them. They saw what the Angels never did.
Couldn't.
They understood that Ohtani himself is a monolith, that the game almost revolves around him as much as anything. They saw the international possibilities and what they could do in Japan. They saw the business possibilities, and it's everything. It's the tours. It's the tourists who come in to take them. It's the merch. It's the sponsorships. It's the whole kit and caboodle. And the Dodgers just last year became the first Major League Baseball franchise to have more than $1 billion in revenue in 1 year. Wow. And they're going to do it again this year.
And probably every year after that, he's there. When I grew up, baseball stars were some of the biggest stars in sports. Ricky Henderson, Barry Bonds, Darryl Strawberry, you name them. Currently, Major League stars haven't really broken through this new social media. It's not new, it's been around for a while, but this social media era. Why do you feel like they haven't really broken the way NBA guys have and NFL guys have?
It's been better. I mean, Ohtani helps.
Yes.
Like, without Ohtani, Aaron Judge, nobody's... I get along with Aaron Judge. I like Aaron Judge. Nobody's ever going to mistake him for a dynamic personality.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Shohei's done it without even
really speaking English?
Speaking English. I mean, he can.
Yeah.
Like, he's very capable of it, but he chooses not to. I think you might see it a little bit more over the next 5 to 10 years. Because I feel like the baseball players who are coming up now, whether it's a guy like Junior Caminero or a guy like Max Clark, who's in AAA with the Tigers and was a top 5 pick and, has essentially himself grown up on social media, I think they better understand what the landscape looks like. And Major League Baseball, just as an institution, as a sport, has never embraced that. No. Like, it took a long time for bat flips to be okay. Yeah. Like, you used to flip your bat and you would get drilled the next time you were at the plate. Mm-hmm. And some of those rules, I think, they're still in place a little bit, but they're going away. I also think that if Major League Baseball does too much, it looks a little desperate. It looks a little thirsty. Mm-hmm. Like, basketball is just a game that, to me, was made for social media. With the clips, with the highlights, with the personalities, with the drama, with the tea, with everything that goes on in the NBA. I mean, let me ask you this. If the NBA were not the NBA, would all the smoke exist?
Probably not. Probably not.
Like, you grew up in a world where, this sort of thing is not just encouraged, it's part of the culture. And it's a necessary part of the culture. And Major League Baseball's culture has just never been like that. I
mean, you look at the World Championship Baseball and just the energy around that tournament and the dancing and the bat flipping and some of the other countries brought to the game. And it kind of made it look, from an outside looking in, like, that's the fun part. Yeah. That's the part that I wish that MLB would kind of, like you said, slowly but surely just adapt more of that type of energy. And do you see that coming in? You kind of just spoke to, but with this next generation of talented players, do you see more of that energy coming into the game?
Yeah, I do think it's like that. But, and listen, the World Baseball Classic is awesome. But I think MLB is actually doing a reasonable thing in not making it like an annual event. Yeah, exactly.
Too much of a circus.
Yeah. And I abide by the scarcity principle generally in my life, actually. I don't, I'm not on Twitter all that much. I don't tweet very often because when I do, it's meaningful and it matters and it's different. And to me, you run that event every year, it's not going to get tired, but it's not as special as and that to me is the one part with baseball where I think it's difficult to sustain that kind of energy. It's a 6-month season and it's 162 games.
A lot of games.
Like, there is a lot of ball. And so to have that constantly there, I think it would just be tough to sustain over the course of a whole season.
You got to be young. But With baseball season heating up, we're thrilled to be partnered with DraftKings to keep you connected to every single play, no matter your location. DraftKings Sports is now available in all 50 states, bringing the ultimate game day experience straight to your fingertips. From California to Texas to Florida, you won't miss a single matchup or highlight. Enjoy the seamless experience, tracking all the games you love. Wherever you're watching, you're always in the game and fully connected with one app. And DraftKings has a great offer. New DraftKings customers, use code DUGOUT and spend $5 and get $150 in total bonus rewards paid out within 14 days, including all markets. Remember, that's code DUGOUT. DraftKings, the crown is yours. You wrote the book on the elbow. A decade later, Tommy John surgeries are still climbing. Compare it to the Achilles issues in the NBA. Is there anything we can do to fix this, or is it just wear and tear on the body like it is in basketball?
I don't know if Achilles issues in basketball start because of what happens in your youth. Like, do you feel like those are more acute things that as you get older and as you're a pro and as you're playing like the physical NBA game that exists right now, that it's just inevitable? Because to me in baseball, this shit starts when they're like 10. And there's a wild incentive in place right now for baseball players, especially pitchers, to throw hard. Because if you don't throw hard, you are not going to get recruited. And it used to be like, if your fastball was at like 85 miles an hour when you were in high school, and you could spot it up pretty good, you have good control, you have good command, you were going to get recruited somewhere. Now, even if you're hitting 90, that's not a guarantee for anything. Wow. It's like, I'm serious here, and I saw this because my son's playing college baseball. Not Division I though. And I've seen some really good competition he's gone against. Kids throwing, 91, 92, 93. Not going to D1, going to JUCO. Yeah.
Really?
It has gotten to the point now where if you're not hitting 95 with your fastball, you'd better have an incredible breaking ball, or you better have a devastating changeup or some sort of outlier pitch, because
it's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. And so what that does, Matt, is that creates this business down with 10 and 11 and 12-year-olds where there are coaches who are saying, we will help you throw harder. And they're doing this before the kids' growth plates are closed. They're doing this before their bodies are physically developed and able to handle it. And you compound that with the excessive amount of games that they're playing during the season.
It used to be, it was seasonal when we grew up. Because you would jump to another sport and take a little break and play something else. But now it's seasonal. I saw, this was maybe 3 years ago, where I saw a story where kids are option, like they don't even need the surgery, but the parents are having it done as teenagers.
So that's, okay. That's an old wives' tale.
Oh,
that is not true.
Really?
Yes.
Where did I see that? I want to say I thought it was pretty reputable, but maybe it's not.
No.
So that's not true.
Well, yeah, and that was one of those things. It's one of the reasons I decided to write the book.
Okay.
Like,
dispel myths like that.
Yep. I started reporting this back in 2012.
Okay.
I was sitting there. My younger son had just been born. Woke up in the middle of the night, given him a bottle. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. At 4 o'clock in the morning, you either have the most brilliant ideas or the dumbest shit imaginable.
Or you're brain dead, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I wasn't sure if this was that, but I was, at the time, the Toronto Blue Jays had 3 pitchers in their minor league system, and it was Justin Nicolino, Aaron Sanchez, and Noah Syndergaard. And they were limiting them to like an inning or 2 per start. And Alex Anthopoulos, who runs the Braves these days, was the Blue Jays general manager. And I asked him, I'm like, why are you doing that? And he said, I don't know. And I appreciated his honesty there because what he was admitting was they have no idea how to keep pitchers healthy. And that blew my mind. Like, half of the players on a baseball team are pitchers. Yeah. And you don't know what you're doing with them. And here we are, man, 14 years after I started reporting that book. Mm-hmm. And they still don't know shit.
And to back what you asked me when I asked you, I think that the Achilles is a part of the wear and tear because now basketball, like every other sport, is not seasonal. Yep. It's year-round. So these kids are coming into the NBA. It's a young man's game now, but their bodies are coming in a lot older than their actual ages.
Why aren't parents taking sports back? That is
The huge question.
Yeah, and it's not a rhetorical one either. I'm honestly flabbergasted that all of us have allowed sports, youth sports, like children, we have allowed it to become a business that consumes our lives and that guides so many decisions that we make. How did we lose the plot so badly that corporations that are making money hand over fist
40
off
billion
of
a year.
us and our children are not only doing that, but they're dog walking us at the same time, and we're just marching along to it. And I think some of it is like the desire to be good parents and to give our children all the opportunity that we can. But is this the right opportunity, or is it just the opportunity that we've been stuck with?
Is it hurting them at the same time? No, I completely agree. And I've been a big proponent because I feel like now more than ever, there's so many, in my sport at least, that there's so many NBA dads that have kids that are playing. I mean, I'll go to a tournament. I just saw Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, John Wall, Brad. I feel like there's so many of us, Jamal Crawford, that can come together and let's try to regulate this. But it's such a big money thing now that as parents, we feel like if our kids aren't involved in sports as their passion, they're going to miss out on the opportunity.
That's what it is. And we get stuck with that. Like, there's only a finite amount of time as a parent that you have inside of that system, right? And we get fired up about it, but we also know we're going to be exiting the system pretty soon. And nobody has stepped up to fill that vacuum yet. And if they did, I worry that all the companies that are out there making this money would somehow have them shut up.
I agree. Quick hitters, first thing to come to mind, your favorite ballpark to cover a game at?
I love San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
I think I think
a warm night or a chilly night?
Warm night every time.
It gets so cold out there.
It's
too cold.
You think of California, it's not real California.
It's crazy.
No.
In that, I always say, because I'm from that, if Northern California had Southern California weather, it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, everyone would live there.
It'd be the spot. Worst ballpark?
Oh God, there aren't a lot of bad ones left.
They've all been redone.
Tropicana Field, probably.
Ugh.
Yeah, sorry, Trop.
We've heard a few of those.
Are they opening a new one?
They still don't have a deal in place yet. I'd like to believe. And here's the thing: even the Trop like has some charm, like if you like malls.
Best ballpark food. Like, give me a historical ballpark that has like something you have to try as far as food.
Every time I walk into, I'm always going to call it Comiskey Park in Chicago. Every time you walk in Chicago, if you like fried grilled onions, the grilled onion smell that permeates that park,
different.
Like, oh.
On top of a hot dog, a burger, doesn't matter, or just plain.
Bro, I'll just mainline those. Doesn't make a difference. Just inject that shit.
That's funny. Game 7 of the World Series, you can only choose one pitcher. Who are you taking?
Woo.
Not current, just all time.
Oh, all time.
All time.
Oh my goodness. See, currently, I was gonna say, I want to say Skubal, but Mizorowski has been unbelievable this season. If I'm looking all-time pitchers, I want somebody who's going to bring like a different look from everyone. And Randy Johnson's combination of fastball and slider at 6'10", with the extension that he has, it's just unlike anything that's out there. So just because of the traits, I would go Randy Johnson. I love Pedro Martinez, man. Greg Maddux was an artist. These are all guys I grew up with. Sandy Koufax was as dominant as you could possibly be. I grew up in Cleveland, so I heard the name Bob Feller all the time. But yeah, I'm going with a big unit.
And he can hit you too, and will hit you. Yeah. That's probably the scariest. But I mean, the pitches are incredible, but he'll lose that every once in a while. And
saw John Kruk in the All-Star game.
Man, best interview in the league right now.
Oh my!
He's got some personality that we wouldn't normally think, or a fun sit down and chat with.
This is tough because there are a lot of good candidates here. I think Pete Crow Armstrong is really interesting. He grew up in LA, but wasn't like the rich kid baseball player. And so he's been through some stuff. He goes out there and plays with his hair on fire. But there's also with him, there are questions that he has about himself. He's not the baseball player who walks out there and says, I'm the shit and I'm gonna dominate this game every day. And I appreciate that there's some humility there and that there's some doubt there, because it's a very relatable thing. It's a very human
Humanizes
thing.
them. Yeah.
Yep.
Best game you've witnessed in person?
I don't want to be like stuck on recency bias here. Game 7 of the World Series last year was
incredible.
Unbelievable. Game 6 in 2011, the David Freese home run game. But the answer is probably Game 7 in 2016. Cubs versus Indians. You know, Rajay Davis hits the home run off of Aroldis Chapman. I try not to react very much in the press box, but I just remember that day. I stood up as I saw that going, and I just kept saying, no fucking way. I was,
gonna happen.
It was almost like, you know, like, did that just really happen? And it did. And I'm just so lucky to get to see that. You know, I grew up in Cleveland in the 90s, and the Indians were unbelievable. Like every year, great players. And so it was for a sports town that's as haunted as it is, I was incredibly fortunate to see that. And that fostered my love for baseball. And so knowing that I get to go to the World Series every year, knowing I get to be at the All-Star game, that I get to talk to these players, I do not ever take for granted how awesome this job and life are.
That's dope. World Series winner this year. Will the Dodgers three-peat, or are you taking the field? Dodgers. Ooh.
How do you pick against them?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Are you giving me the field? Like, I don't have to choose who it is. I could get all 29 other teams.
It could be the field.
Here's the thing. The math tells you to take the field.
Yeah,
but my eyes tell me to take the Dodgers.
I was about to say, you know enough.
Yeah, but we also have to acknowledge that baseball's a weird game, man.
Yeah, a lot of luck.
And there is a ton of luck involved in it. And the Dodgers' luck over the last couple of years has been fantastic, but their talent it's beyond question.
One guest you would like to see on our show? This is a good question for you, because you get to talk to everyone already, so.
You had any Dominicans on yet?
Not yet. No?
No.
We have to think back. Yeah.
Pedro.
Yeah.
I think Pedro would be incredible.
I've been talking to his son a lot. He was actually supposed to be here, he didn't make the trip, but yeah, we're gonna lock Pedro down.
Pedro would be good. I just did a show with Junior Caminero, and
I like him.
He really started learning English 2 years ago, and we sat down and he talked for an hour and a half.
Really?
And he talked about labor, and he talked about growing up in the DR, and it's not just a different world because of, the financial differences between the U.S., just the priorities there. And how many kids look at baseball as their only way out?
Yeah.
And what that does in terms of, again, the adults who get involved. There are some trainers who are in it for the kids. There are some trainers who are injecting 10-year-olds with steroids because they know that by the time they're 12, they're going to be agreeing to contracts that they cannot sign until they're 16. So it's, Junior's ability to, in a second language, talk about the brokenness of his country and yet the beauty that somehow still exists there.
Yeah.
I thought it was really wonderful.
That's dope. Well, Jeff, thank you for your time, man. We appreciate your work and continued success.
Pleasure was all mine, man. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. Thank you.